made it! Prince's estate battle. Who will inherit his millions? It's been over 6 years still diving deep into this mess of estate feuds. You've reached Tina with your backup plan today. Glad to have you guys here. So happy to have you here. My name is Tina Ginn. I am a financial advisor, a creator and developer of your backup plan app. I'm a best-selling author of In the Blink of an Eye. Just like that, you have something tragic happen in your life that's quick and it changes your whole life forever. I'm also an emergency preparedness coach, and today on Fridays, Walking with Tina, we talk about Celebrity Week this week, and today is like no other. Did anyone out there know Prince? You know, who will inherit his millions? Let's check it out. Maybe the 80s, 90s? Anybody remember? Well, today we're going to talk about a whole other platform. You can find us on all podcast platforms. We are on, we have shows each week with special guests talking about their tragedy, their interesting topic of how they had something occur in their life. And we also talk about grief a lot on our show because grief is part of sort of a rehabilitation to what has happened in your life. So we also talk about that. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn, and of course, Pinterest. So please like, share, and subscribe down here and below. And you can follow us for our next Friday celebrity shows, as well as last week we had a topic. So every other week we have Celebrity Week, and last week we had a topic week, and we talked about green burials and human composting. There was 14 shocking ways to bury your loved one. Unbelievable video. If you haven't checked that out, check it down below. I'll put it in the description box for everybody. So happy to have you because, you know, in the blink of an eye, how something so quickly happens and something life-changing and something unexpected to you. Of course, you don't want to have that. You don't want to have that happen to you. So what we talk about is, in the blink of an eye, having a plan in place so that you're not having difficulty with getting your medical stuff information, having a plan in place. There's nothing like having that door knock on your door in the middle of the night and having a police officer say that someone's passed away. And you have no plan. You have no plan for what puzzle pieces they had in their plan that you don't know, the passwords that they had, or perhaps their investments or where their accounts are, or if they have a will or a power of attorney, or if they survived, can you pay their bills? You know, all of that stuff. And we're going to talk about that in all of our shows as well. So thank you for coming on and talk about Prince today. We're going to have a short commercial break, and we'll see you over here in a quick second.
Walking down the sidewalk, kicking my feet as I'm moving to the music. Step to the beat, I woke up today, canceled all my plans, and I stepped right outside with my guitar in my hands, and the notes became louder, the sound caressed the air, and I kicked it up a notch as I strolled without a care, cause I'm going down the road to a brand new place, and I'll get there with a smile on my face, yeah, so lift me up, I'm moving on, singing and dancing while I play my song.
Well, you reached me. You got me back. We're going to talk about Prince's estate battle. Wow. You know, after years, 6 years of legal battles, and who gets what? Family drama following the unfortunate 2016 death of pop icon Prince. His estate has finally been settled and officially given a multi-million-dollar value to be split between publishing company Primary Wave and his surviving heirs. So let's delve deep into what exactly the background of Prince, because I have that all here for us, to really go into Prince Rogers Nelson was born on June 7th, 1958, and he married two times through his life. 1996 to 2000, he married Nate, and in 2001, 2007, he married Manuela. And he died April 21st, 2016, and he did have a baby born in the 2000 years called Amir Nelson, and he died in 6 days. So he really didn't have any wives, he didn't have a spouse, and he didn't have any offspring, but he did have siblings. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And so welcome about discussing this late musician Prince and the importance of having a will, because Prince was known for his incredible talent and unique style, but unfortunately he passed away without a will in place, leaving behind a complicated legal battle for his estate. So we're going to talk about learning why a will is really crucial. And it probably would have actually been better if he had made a trust. But that being said, Prince was a legendary musician, singer-songwriter, and actor who rose to fame in the 1980s with his innovative music and his flamboyant persona. He sold over 150 million records worldwide, won 7 Grammy Awards, and was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2004. He was a pioneer in the music industry, pushing boundaries, of course, with his fusion of different genres like rock, pop, R&B, funk, and jazz. You know, Prince was a fascinating, complex artist, and there were many interesting things that could have been said about him, but there was especially 2. He was a musical genius. Prince was an incredibly talented musician, singer, and songwriter. He was known for his innovative and genre-defined music, which blended elements of rock, R&B, and pop. He played multiple instruments, including guitar, drums, bass, keyboards, and often recorded and produced his own music. He was also a prolific singer-songwriter, writing not only for himself, but his own music. He also for other artists. His music influenced countless musicians and continues to be celebrated today. Number 2 of his fascinating things about Prince was his uniqueness. Prince was also known for his unique and often crazy person. He was known for his flamboyant style, which included wearing high-heeled boots, ruffled shirts, and flashy jewelry. He also had a reputation of being very private and elusive, rarely giving interviews or making public appearances. He was also known for his spiritual beliefs, particularly his connection to the Jehovah's Witness religion later in life. His image was much of his legacy in his music. When Prince passed away in April 21st, 2016, he left behind an estate worth an estimated $300 million. However, he didn't have a will, which meant that his assets were distributed according to Minnesota state law, and this led to a complicated legal battle with multiple individuals claiming to be rightful heirs to his estate, including his half-siblings, some of whom he had no relationship with during his lifetime. The legal battle dragged on for years, 6 years actually, and it was only in 2019 that the estate was finally settled. However, the long, prolonged legal battle that was a significant portion of his estate's value was lost to legal fees and taxes, and it was still ongoing up until 2021. Wow, that's crazy. In the end, the estate will be almost evenly divided between a well-funded New York music company called Primary Wave and the three oldest of the music icons' 6 heirs or their families. The IRS settled last spring on the real estate portion of Prince's estate, but the trickier task of valuing intangible assets, such as rights to Prince's music, was not completed up until October of 2021. The value of that settlement, $156.4 million, was disclosed Friday in a filing in probate court. Let's get these notes right here. As part of the agreement, the IRS dropped $6.4 million penalty it had levied on Prince's estate. And the tax collectors will take a bite out of Prince's future fortune that will run into the tens of millions of dollars. A bit more than $5 million of Prince's estate will be exempted from taxes under federal law in Minnesota. So it's very interesting because as they talk about, there is really no, in Minnesota law, in intestate law, there's really no reason to not include all half siblings and complete siblings because they're looked at the same. So Prince's death in 2016 was unexpected and tragic, and it was later revealed that he did not have a will in place. It's unclear exactly why Prince did not have a will, as he was known to be a private person who kept his personal affairs closely guarded. Some have speculated that he may have believed that his estate would be handled fairly without a will, while others have suggested that he may have simply not gotten around to creating one. Yeah. Anybody listening out there, very true. We all think we have so much time, we're not going to die, and we have all the time in the world to do it. But in fact, do it, because we don't have all the time in the world. We don't know when we're going to take our last breath. We don't know if we're going to see tomorrow. And we certainly don't know that we want to leave a mess. We don't want to leave a mess for our loved ones. Regardless of the reason, the fact that Prince did not have a will has led to a complex legal battle over his estate, which was valued at hundreds of millions of dollars. Without a clear directive from Prince on how his assets should be distributed, his estate had been tied up in court proceedings for several years, with multiple potential heirs and beneficiaries vying for a share of the estate. The situation highlights the importance of estate planning and having a clear will in place to ensure that one's wishes are carried out after their death. That's very true. I can't say that enough. Prince's estate is finally settled after a 6-year court battle. The late singer did not leave a will regarding his $156 million estate. After the singer died, of course, his 6 half-siblings, one of which was a whole sibling, was named his legal heirs. All of his $200 million in assets would go to court to be distributed to his heirs according to Minnesota law. Well, according to the law of intestate succession, which is succession after you die, there's a set of laws that say who your assets go to. He wasn't married. He had been married twice. He had no children. His son passed away very soon after he had they had given birth. And there had been no children that anyone knew of, but he had 6 siblings. And the court ruled that his 6 siblings will be the recipients of his $200 million estate. One of those 6 siblings, a sister, Tyka Nelson, was a full sibling to Prince. They shared the same mother and the same father. The other 5 siblings were what we call half-siblings. So either the father was shared or the mother was shared in the relationship of a sibling to Prince. You need to know that the law treats half-siblings and full siblings the same when you die without a will. Possibly checking your area, because that could be different depending on what country, province, state you live in. Even though he may not have had a relationship with those 5 siblings, maybe never even saw them, maybe never knew them, they were actually his siblings. But at some point in time, those children were recognized by a parent, and it doesn't take much. It could be on a birth certificate. They could have gotten, even if they weren't on a birth certificate, they could have gotten a Christmas note from the parent or a late in life contact from the parent that would automatically make that person an heir to the parent and an heir to all of their siblings. Wow, isn't that crazy? Because all the stuff that comes out in the wash when someone passes away, all the heirs to things that people say they are, or the fight that comes after people pass away, that sibling, even he didn't have a relationship with them, would get over $10 million of his estate based on this ruling, even though the court had vetted 45 other people who were claiming to be spouses, children, and other relatives, is now narrowed down to only these 6. The moral of the story is, of course, the only way Prince could have prevented maybe a sibling that he didn't know about or didn't have a relationship with, or those other 45 people who put a claim in to be considered a relative of his and an heir to his, an heir to his estate, would be to do a will. And a proper, more concise and detailed, perhaps, solution for Prince, because in a will he would say the people he wanted his estate to go to. But of course, an even better solution, and we talk about them many times on our show, would have been to have done a trust in which he would have stayed out of probate court, and it wouldn't have occurred somewhere in the neighborhood of $10 to $20 million in expenses like it did. And that all takes a bite out of the estate, any amount of money that goes to legal wars, legal battles, lawyers, and courts. Prince's story highlights the importance of having a will, regardless of how much or how little you own. A will is a legal document that outlines how you want your assets to be distributed after you're dead. It allows you to decide who gets what. And what it can also specify is other important details like guardianship of minor children, funeral arrangements, and charitable donations. Without a will, the state will determine how your assets are distributed, which can lead to complications and legal battles. It could also result in your assets going to individuals you may not have chosen to receive them. That would be a horror story, wouldn't it? So creating a will can be daunting, of course, and people don't want to look at what happens when. But it's a crucial step in ensuring that your wishes are carried out after your death. And here's some key steps to creating your will. Number 1, determine your assets. Start by making a list of all your assets, including bank accounts, real estate, investments, and personal belongings. Number 2, choose an executor. An executor is the person responsible for carrying out the wishes outlined in your will. Choose someone you trust and who is willing to take on this responsibility. Number 3, decide on your beneficiaries. Decide who you want to inherit your assets and in what proportions. Number 4, consider other important details. Your will can also specify who you want to be the guardian of your minor children. Who should make your medical decisions on your behalf if you become incapacitated? And how do you want your funeral to be arranged? There's also a medical directive, and in some places they call it a living will in case you become incapacitated. But there's also a power of attorney that can also be completed at the time of making a will. Consult with a lawyer or an attorney that can help you ensure your will is legally valid and that it accurately reflects your wishes. Apparently, I can't talk today. Even if you don't have significant assets, there are still several reasons why having a will is important. And here's some reasons why. Number 1, guardianship. And in my 20-some years of working in the legal field, in the financial world, I came across the main reason in my scope of working with people. The main reason they didn't complete a will is because they didn't know who their guardianship of their children should be. And this was the number one reason that held back people in completing a will. And what I say to all my clients, as well as all of anyone that I touch in the world today, I say to you, make a will. It doesn't matter. You can change it next year. You can revise it as many times as you'd like. And get something in writing in case of something that happens tomorrow. You just never know. So here are some reasons why you need to make a will. Of course, number 1 is guardianship. If you have any minor children, a will can specify who you want to be their guardian if you pass away. This can ensure that your children are taken care of by someone you trust. And it could be a number of people, if you'd like. I worked with a client who named a person a legal guardian of the children that they lived with, and then also had another guardianship that they were allowed to also have to take them on trips, take them away on weekends, spend some time with them. So there's all sorts of avenues you can go with a multitude of people. So don't worry about picking just one person. Number 2, funeral arrangements. A will can specify your wishes regarding your funeral arrangements, including whether you want to be cremated or buried, what type of service you want, and other details. Number 3, your digital assets. If you have any online accounts or digital assets, a will can specify how you want these assets to be handled after your death. That's very important in this day and age. There's so many digital assets that you don't even think about. There's reward points, there's gaming points, there's money on online accounts, all sorts of things that you should really download your backup plan app and get those sections of your online digital assets completed and keep some passwords somewhere handy as well. Number 4, perhaps you would like charitable donations. If you want to donate any of your assets to a charity or organization after your death, a will can specify this. Number 5, peace of mind. I think it should be number 1, no, not number 5, because creating a will can provide peace of mind, knowing that your wishes will be carried out after your death and that your loved ones will be taken care of. So even if you don't have significant assets, creating a will can still be important for ensuring that your wishes are carried out and your loved ones are taken care of after your death. In conclusion, Prince's story is a reminder to us all of the importance of having a will. While we may not all have an estate with millions of dollars, we all have assets that we want to pass on to our loved ones. Creating a will is a crucial step and ensuring that your wishes are carried out and that our assets are distributed according to your desires. So take the time to create a will and protect your legacy. And thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. I'm so happy to have taken the time with all of you and talked about the purpose of not having a will, Prince's crazy story of his estate battle, and what we can do to make things different. I really like to talk about that because if you don't have a will, if you don't have a power of attorney, and you don't have a living will or a medical directive, it's time that you do that this week. Please make arrangements to get that done so that just some of your estate can be properly managed and taken care of for your own wishes, your own peace of mind, for both you and your loved ones, because you don't know what tomorrow will bring. So stay tuned for the next video that we bring to you today and next week, on next week's Friday, on the 14 crazy ways of burying your loved one. I'll see you next week. Stay safe, be kind. Till next week, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. I love you. Till next week, bye. Bye. Up.